Hello, and welcome to the reading of the Canton Repository for June 5th, 2020. My name is Pam, and let's begin with the area death notices. Robert Herman Bloss, 87, was called to his eternal home on June 2nd. A graveside memorial service will be held on Monday at 11 a.m. at Marlborough Cemetery in Alliance. Arrangements have been entrusted to Gednitz Ruzek Brown Funeral Home in Sebring. Dorothy Mae Clark, 92, passed away peacefully Tuesday at Woodlawn Hospice. There will be no services. Heritage Cremation Society is handling those services for the family. James Edward Dorsey Sr., also known as Pops. Friends may visit from 5 to 8 p.m. on Monday in the Carlo Libby Funeral Home. A graveside service will be held at 12 noon on Tuesday at Sunset Hills Memorial Garden. Robert Charles Emer, 71, passed away on June 1st. A private graveside interment will be in Ohio Western Reserve National Cemetery. Paquette Funeral Home and Crematory are servicing the family. Elsie H. Gracie, 90, formerly of Canton, passed away Tuesday night at Naples Community Hospital. A funeral service will be celebrated on Sunday at 4 p.m. at Chicany Bonita's Funeral Home, Bonita Springs, Florida. The family will receive friends from 3 p.m. until the time of service. Additional services and burial will be held at Forest Hill Cemetery in North Canton, where she will be laid to rest beside her husband. Terry Jim Curvin, 83, of Walnut Ridge, formerly of Imboden, died May 29th at the Flo and Phil Hospice House in Jonesboro. Private services were already held. Bryan Funeral Home assisted the family. Carol Leroy Marks, 80, of Canton, passed away peacefully with his family at his side on Wednesday at Mercy Medical Center. Arrangements are with the Carlo Libby Funeral Home, with services scheduled at 11 a.m. on Saturday. Visitation will be on Friday from 6 to 8 p.m. and on Saturday from 10:30 to 11 a.m. at the funeral home. William James Miles, also known as Mutt, 80, passed away May 31st. A memorial service will be held at a later date due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Reed Funeral Home is assisting the family. Richard I. Reed, 71, of Massillon, passed away on June 4th after an extended illness. The family will receive friends on Tuesday from 10 to 11 a.m. at the Paquette Funeral Home in Massillon. Funeral services will follow at 11 a.m. and burial will take place at Brookfield Cemetery, where military rites will be rendered. Live streaming will be available on Tuesday at 11 a.m. for those who cannot attend by going to Richard's obituary page at www.paquillette.com. Katie Karras Somides passed away peacefully in the comfort of her home. There will be no calling hours or services respecting Katie's wishes, and she was serviced by Reed Funeral Home. Mildred E. Wallace, known as Midge, age 100, of Canton, passed away Wednesday. Services will be held Monday at 11 a.m. in the Formet, Clevenger, and Gordon Funeral Home. Interment will be in Sunset Hills Burial Park. Friends may call Sunday 2 to 4 p.m. We ask that everyone please observe social distancing at both times. Lee H. Zimmerman passed away. Calling hours will be Saturday from 3 to 6 p.m. at Arnold Funeral Home in Hartville. Private graveside services will be Monday at 11 a.m. at the Ragersville Cemetery. Canton police officer with racial, that ends the area death notices for today, and let's just move on to this first article. It's titled, Canton Police Officer with Racist Social Media Post Had Disciplinary Actions, Commendations, by Lori Steineck. He was punished for turning off his body camera and was accused of causing a couple crashes in city police cruisers. In his 6 years on the force, a disgraced Canton police officer received several disciplinary letters and several commendations, according to his personnel file. Patrolman Andrew Russ has been suspended twice without pay for shutting off his body camera. He resigned before he could be fired Wednesday after posting an inflammatory and racially charged message on social media. Russ posted a photo of himself Tuesday night wearing police tactical gear and holding a beverage can with lyrics from rapper 50 Cent's Many Men song written across the photo. One of the lines referred to shooting people who mess with him and used a racial slur and profane language. The photo was posted at a time the country is reeling from protests and riots following the death of George Floyd, an African American who died last week after a white Minneapolis police officer pressed a knee into his neck for several minutes, keeping it there even after Floyd stopped moving and pleaded for air. Local protests this week have all been peaceful. Police Chief Jack Angelo said Wednesday, and Russ's posting was online about 5 or 10 minutes before Russ removed it. But Angelo immediately sent the patrol supervisor on duty to take Russ's badge, gun, and police equipment, calling Russ's actions indefensible. A hearing was ordered for Wednesday morning, but Russ did not appear. Instead, his union representative presented the chief with a resignation letter bearing no explanation. Repository calls to the union for comment have not been returned. According to Russ's personnel file, he was hired April 8, 2014. He had received his police training at Stark State College and went on to work for 4 months for the Strasburg Police Department. Then he was hired onto the Canton Police Department. In less than 2 years, there were problems. Russ was one of 6 officers named in a federal excessive force lawsuit stemming from a February 2016 arrest for which a woman claimed they violated her civil rights. The woman and the city settled the suit for $122,500. In April 2017, Russ was reprimanded after he rear-ended a vehicle, shoving it into another vehicle, causing heavy damage. It was his second vehicle crash in less than 2 years. 6 months later, he shut off his body-worn camera at the scene of a traffic stop on Arlington Avenue, an incident that resulted in the suspect filing a complaint and in Russ being suspended without pay for a day. Russ's personnel file shows the complaint was not sustained. When asked by the repository, the police spokesman, Lieutenant Dennis Guerin, said the complaint did not come in as a racially motivated complaint, and 3 other officers wearing body cameras were present during the traffic stop. The discipline was simply due to the fact that Russ failed to activate his body-worn camera, a violation of the department's rules and regulations. Russ was reprimanded again in September 2019 after, despite the shift supervisor terminating a vehicle pursuit, he shut off his body camera and turned it back on several seconds later, still traveling above the speed limit and eventually witnessing the suspect crashing into another vehicle. He received a letter of reprimand. In January of this year, another incident earned him another 1-day suspension. According to a letter from Angelo, Russ was suspended without pay for deactivating his body camera for 7 seconds during a chase from an attempted traffic stop. 2 weeks after the chase, he sideswiped a Chevrolet Silverado, damaging the cruiser and the Silverado. A letter of counseling was placed in his file, warning, repeated violations of this manner shall result in further progressive discipline. Among his many certificates for successfully completing a variety of training and additional professional law enforcement courses are commendations, including a mention that he earned the rating of operator on the Canton Regional SWAT Cooperative Team. In one commendation letter, retired Officer Dennis Williams credited Russ with saving his wife's life, performing the Heimlich maneuver on the woman as she was choking. Russ was given commendations for the following incidences and actions as well. In February of 2017, suspect fired 2 shots inside a bar and a car chase followed. Russ and his fellow officers recovered multiple loaded guns, body armor, and marijuana. In February of 2017, a car chase and then a foot chase followed a shooting on Shorb Avenue Northwest. Russ and one of his fellow officers caught and arrested the suspects, seizing a loaded gun. In July of 2017, Russ was one of 7 officers participating in the Woodland Church's cleanup and beautification project. September of 2017, Russ was one of several officers on the SWAT team credited with rescuing 2 people during a hostage situation. In February of 2018, Russ was one of 3 officers who stopped a trio of known gang members and chased them on foot, catching and arresting them and seizing 3 guns. Moving on, our next article is titled Canton City Schools Union Leaders Pick Mallory Floyd as New Superintendent by Kelly Weir. It's rare for all 4 unions of the Canton City School District to send a joint letter regarding a superintendent search. In Canton, union leaders representing Canton City School District employees say the district has its next superintendent already in its ranks. 4 employee unions representing more than 1,200 teachers, custodians, bus drivers, food service workers, and more have taken the usual steps of sending a letter to school board members to recommend they hire Assistant Superintendent Mallory Floyd to succeed Superintendent Jeff Graham. Graham is leaving the district in August to become the Chief Executive Officer of the Lorain City School District. In their letter, the union leaders wrote that Floyd would bring much-needed stability to a district that will see its 3rd superintendent since January of 2019. They said Floyd's hire would help keep the leadership team that Graham assembled intact and ensure the 3-year comprehensive plan developed by the team, in collaboration with employees, would be followed. With her and the current leadership team at the helm, our commitment to the comprehensive plan will be unwavering, the leaders wrote in the letter, which was obtained by the Canton Repository through a public records request. Quote, the Canton City School District family has invested countless hours into the process that has become our roadmap for the next 3 years, end quote. The letter was signed by Ira Esner, president of the Ohio Association of Public School Employees / American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, and American Federation of Labor, Congress of Industrial Organizations, Local 609. Signed by Julie Langanke, president of OAPSE, AFSCME, AFL-CIO, Local 161. Paul Palomba, president of Canton Professional Educators Association, and Ernie Sams, president of the OAPSE, AFSCME, Ohio, AFL-CIO, Local 107. Floyd, a McKinley High School graduate, was named interim assistant superintendent in January of 2019 after the departure of Superintendent Adrienne Allison. Her interim tag was removed in July, a month after Graham was hired. Floyd, who began her career as a teacher, has spent 30 years in education, with 24 of them in the Canton City School District. She previously served as assistant superintendent in the Canton Local School District. Floyd says she's ready to be Canton City's next superintendent. I'm a proud graduate of the district, she said. I have taught here, coached here. I have been a high school and elementary building administrator, a central office director, and the assistant superintendent. I have been collaborating at the table this past year with all the union leaders and other stakeholders developing the plan, and now it's time to move this district forward. What are the next steps? School Board President John J.R. Rinaldi said Thursday the board still is negotiating the terms of Graham's departure and then will announce its plans for finding the district's next superintendent. The board met Thursday in a closed-door session to discuss its process for finding a new superintendent. Rinaldi said the board already has received 2 letters from people interested in succeeding Graham. One is from Floyd, and the other letter of interest is from George E. Fisk, a 1992 McKinley High School graduate. Fisk has been the superintendent of the Norwalk City School District since 2015 and has more than 20 years of experience in education, according to his letter that was obtained through a public records request. Well, it looks like Sandy Valley Local is to seek a renewal of the levy. Sandy Valley Local Board of Education is taking steps to ask voters to renew a 2 mil permanent improvement tax levy. The 5-year property tax generates $291,869 annually for the school district. The renewal request is expected to be on the November 3rd election ballot. Revenue from the permanent improvement levy is applied to capital expenses such as building repairs and equipment purchases. The board recently approved the initial resolution to prepare the tax issue for the ballot. We are not asking for more money, Superintendent David Fisher said. We are only asking for a renewal. It allows us to stay up to date for all our technology for our students and that we have safe buses to operate. Our next article is titled First Tee of Canton Junior Tour, set to start on Monday, by Cliff Hickman. The organization resumed operations on June 1st and will play its entire junior tour schedule, beginning with an event at Pleasant View Golf Course on Monday. Fear, uncertainty, confusion, all of these have been common emotions during the coronavirus pandemic. These were all reasons the First Tee of Canton wasn't sure how its participants would react to a possible reopening. Then the results of a survey to parents came flooding in. We sent those surveys out a couple of weeks ago just to gauge the response from parents in the program about possibly reopening, First Tee of Canton Executive Director Angela Palomba said. We didn't really include any details in the survey, but we were overwhelmed with the response. The results were 85% of the parents wanted us to come back. Plans were set into motion. Rules, regulations, and social distancing measures were worked out. The end result was classes resuming on June 1st. It's gone well, Palomba said. The parents have been great. We've been asking them to stay in the car if they come along just to cut down on the number of individuals in the building. Our class sizes are smaller and we have everybody wearing masks. It's not always going to be fun, but we are putting the health of the volunteers and the kids first. So far, so good. The organization's biggest summer event also is set to return. The First Tee of Canton Junior Tour kicks off a 7-week schedule at Pleasant View Golf Course on Monday. Registration started slow when we first announced it, but it's really picked up as we have gotten closer to the event, Palomba said. We didn't know what to expect, but I think a lot of kids have been playing while courses were open during the shutdown. A lot of them that have signed up seem really excited about getting to play in the tournament. There are 2 notable changes to the junior tour this year. The 2-day Shorston Memorial Tournament is now an official tour event and will count towards the point standings. The Shorston Memorial is officially under our umbrella now and will be a 2-day event on July 20 and 21, Palomba said. The Shorston family is still going to be involved and participants will be able to register for it online for the first time. Also, the Points Championship on July 27th will be held at a private course for the first time. Congress Lake is allowing us to hold the Points Championship at its country club, and I think that's going to be a great opportunity for the kids, Palomba said. We never charge the kids for the Points Championship. I think the involvement of Congress Lake is just going to make it even more special for the kids who qualify for the event. With the never-ending turmoil that seems to be gripping the world, the tour may prove to be a welcome respite for participants and family members. I hope it gives the kids a bit of a break, Palomba says. It's a good way for them to get out and be active. It will be different. We're not going to let the kids hang around and congregate after they finish their round, and we are going to limit extra spectators. We're also going to be following the individual guidelines set up by the courses, and they have been great with helping us with those. And more positive news, St. Helena III to begin new season in Canal Fulton by Amy Knapp. Canal rides will be offered Friday, Saturday, and Sunday beginning June 19th. In Canal Fulton, the St. Helena III is set to take to the waters of the Ohio and Erie Canal. The historic reproduction, which will begin its season June 12th, offers riders a glimpse into how early settlers traversed the canalways during its heyday. The canal was used as a commercial shipping route with boats carrying goods to New Orleans using the Ohio and Mississippi rivers, or to New York City using Lake Erie and the Hudson River in New York. From 1826 to 1836, 25 villages sprang up along the banks of the canal in Stark County. Canal Fulton was one of the first. Those taking a ride on St. Helena III are treated to a 2-mile round-trip ride along a stretch of the Ohio and Erie Canal that runs from St. Helena Heritage Park to Lock 4 and back. The boat, a 27-ton replica constructed of concrete and wood, is pulled by 2 horses, Isabel, a Belgian horse, and Dan, a Percheron draft horse. City on the canal. Growing up in the Manchester area, Rob Hodges had no clue about the history-laden city just down the road until a ride along the towpath gave him a glimpse of the canal and the historic town. "I fell in love with the quaint small town and the canal history," he said. Hodges, a history major, began working on the canal boat during the 2007 season and served as captain from 2009 to 2010. The next year, he joined the Canal Fulton Canalway Center staff. Last year, he was hired as the canal boat coordinator. City officials are excited to be able to offer the rides amid the coronavirus concerns. City Manager Mark Cozy isn't sure how the public will respond, but the city, which owns and operates the canal boat, is happy to be able to offer the experience to visitors. Several summer events in the city and surrounding areas have been canceled, including the city's annual Canal Days Festival. Even though boat operations have changed to comply with social distancing and other COVID-19 related regulations, City Parks and Rec Director Carla Ronte said offering the rides is filling a void left by the many cancellations. "It's something we can open up and do safely," she said. "Come visit us, walk around. The shops are open. Get an ice cream cone and enjoy a ride on the canal boat." Ronte, who joined the city staff earlier this year, has fielded a number of calls about the canal boat tours. People stopping in the Canalway Center also have been interested to know when the ride will begin. Keeping everyone safe. Several safety measures have been put into place, including reducing the number of passengers. The boat will carry half its normal capacity, with 25 passengers permitted. Normally, removable bench seats are used for passengers. This year, folding chairs will be offered to those taking a ride. Hodges says the chairs offer flexibility for seating arrangements to maintain social distancing and allow for families to sit together, as well as they are easier to clean after each use. Visitors and boat operators will be required to wear a mask. The city will supply masks if a passenger doesn't have one. The days of operation have also been reduced. Previously, the boat ran twice a day, 7 days a week. This season, rides will be offered at 12:15, 1:15, and 2:45 p.m., Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Hodge says the goal is to sell out the rides. If the demand is available, they may expand the trip schedule. Officials are trying to figure out if they can host special event rides like they have in the past, such as dinner cruises. They are still working on the logistics. In the meantime, Hodges and his team, including City Community Service Director John Murphy, have been working to ready the boat for its maiden voyage this season. While in dry dock, the boat has undergone repairs, including a new coat of a concrete compound produced by Lindsay Precast. It also has been painted. Through a partnership with Stark Parks, the canal has been cleaned up. Cozy said with the record high flooding last summer, debris including sunken logs and lawn chairs were clogging the canal. Remnants of a beaver dam also have caused problems for the boat last year. Hodges says they try to keep the ride as close to historically accurate as possible, but there have been some changes, including a cement boat, which holds up better than the all-wood boats of yesteryear, and horses pulling the boat instead of mules. 4 crew members, including a steerer, a historian who provides information about the canal and the boat, and 2 drivers, will handle the horses, are on each trip. The city employs about 8 to 10 crew members. typically high school and college students for the season, Cozy said. Many are returning for another season, while some are new. Besides enjoying the ride, visitors can also visit the St. Helena II, housed in the St. Helena Heritage Park. The boat sailed the canal from July 26, 1969 until 1984, when it was unable to be repaired. Take a ride through history. The St. Helena III canal boat will begin taking passengers on the Ohio and Erie Canal on June 12th. Tickets are $9 for adults, $8 for 60 and older and veterans, $5 for children 6 to 17, and free for children 5 and younger with a paid adult. Tickets can be purchased in advance by calling the Canal Fulton Canalway Center at 330-854-6835 or the day of the ride at the center at 125 Tuscarora Street Northwest, Canal Fulton, in the St. Helena Heritage Park. Officials are asking customers to please pre-purchase tickets. Well, this next article is titled Opinion, Sharita Gaucher. It's bigger than George Floyd. I've long known that no matter what I write, some of you are going to be mad about it. That's fine, so long as you aren't ambivalent about what's happening to the country we both love. The events roiling and shaking us to our core may have been ignited by the death of George Floyd at the hands of 4 Minneapolis police officers, but the problems have been festering since 1619. Those demanding justice are contending this latest deadly encounter is not an aberration, but rather a burdensome norm for Americans of color. If people didn't love America, by the way, they wouldn't be protesting to make a great nation even better. Now, this shouldn't have had to be said, but there can't be any wiggle room. Wanton acts of thievery and violence under the guise of protesting are indefensible. It only hands an excuse to people who don't want to hear about the issue in the first place. Others' misbehavior still doesn't let us off the hook, doesn't negate our need to confront the original sin of inequity, which looms over this nation like the swords of Damocles. It's about an unequal application of justice, which results in being choked to death for selling cigarettes or trying to pass a counterfeit $20 bill. It's about a 19-year-old white supremacist illegally acquiring a firearm and then using it to kill 9 Americans in a church and living to tell about it. It's about Tamir Rice not being allowed to live to tell how, when he was a kid, he once made a childish mistake. It's about James Holmes spraying a movie theater in Aurora, Colorado with bullets, then booby-trapping his apartment to kill police and living to tell about it. It's about John Crawford being killed in a Dayton Walmart for holding a toy gun in an open carry state. It's about Trayvon Martin dying for the sin of being a mouthy teenager. It's about Sandra Bland being arrested during a traffic violation and not living to fight it. It's about Philando Castile following a police officer's instructions to the letter and still not coming out alive to tell the tale. It's about Breonna Taylor, a first responder in Louisville, Kentucky, dying in a hail of bullets because of a no-knock raid at the wrong address. It's about Black Lives Matter being labeled as terrorists, but not the white supremacist groups who have terrorized Americans of all races with impunity for 150 years. It's about the conspiracy of silence embraced by good police officers who are just trying to get home in one piece, but who are protecting the unfit in their ranks, which endangers everyone. It's about how too many departments have moved away from community policing and towards militarization. When someone is trussed up like a Roman gladiator or a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, it's hard to see the human underneath. It's about accountability and the need to reform, improve, and standardize how policing is practiced, something that can only benefit everyone. It's about 2 Americans, one growing poorer and sicker, and the other growing richer and richer. It's about the abject silence of white evangelicals and the absence of righteous anger which seems to be reserved for self-pity and those whom they support at the ballot box. It's about jogging while black, working while black, birdwatching while black, and how the presumption of criminality and guilt grinds away at one's soul like water wearing down stone. It's about whether a great country can summon the will, the vision, and the courage to live up to its own creed as a nation indivisible with liberty and justice for all. Well, my friends, that is the end of the reading of the Canton Repository for June 5th, 2020. My name is Pam, asking you to please stay safe, be blessed, and you make it a great day.